We're in Psalm 110. It's a messianic psalm, and that's why we chose it, because we are talking about Jesus and psalms that point to Jesus as we celebrate Christmas. We left off in verse 3 yesterday. First two verses God is talking to Jesus about how he will conquer his enemies, and he's saying, sit here until that time comes. One day you'll rule over them. They'll be your footstool, but until then, you'll rule in the midst of them. But now verse 3 looks forward again to the day of his power, the day of his conquering. So thy people, we talked about that yesterday, thy people shall be willing. Jesus will have a people. He wants you to be one of them. He wants you to willingly choose him. They shall be willing. This will not be a conquest of force. It will be a conquest of grace. Hearts will be made willing. In the day of thy power, now this is important. It's very clear that the power is of God. Okay, so we don't accomplish our salvation, God does. The people that are made willing and brought under the headship, the lordship, the ruling of Jesus as Savior, King, priest, that is accomplished by his power. And that's the gospel. The gospel is I could not save myself, and that I'm so bad that God had to come in person and live a perfect life that I could never live, and then die the death, pouring out justice upon himself as my substitute, that he had to bear the atonement for my sin. He had to accomplish it. So it is his power that brought about the incarnation. It is his power that conquered sin and death. It will be his power that subdues his enemies. It will be his power that makes my heart willing. And this is not only my salvation, but it is every day of my life. It is his power that breaks down my flesh, breaks down my stubbornness, breaks down my pride, and makes me willing to follow him, to love him, to honor him. It's his doing, it's his power. It is God that worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. So Jesus will have a people. They'll be willing. It will be his power. His power will be made fully, it will be fully consummated and fully expressed on this particular day, in the day of thy power, on this particular moment in time or season of time. Now look at this. There's a comma after power. Thy people is the subject, okay? Thy people shall be willing in the day of thy power, in the beauties of holiness, from the womb of the morning, colon. So there's this section, this sentence is a descriptor of the people of Jesus. Now, this is so cool. Okay, this is profound. He's describing you and me, the people of Jesus, in the day of power. So at this coronation day, at this final crowning of Jesus as the eternal King, his people, not just Israel, but Gentiles and heathen who were made willing, heathen who chose to believe, as many as received him, to them gave he the power to become the sons of God. His people would appear in the beauties of holiness. That is awesome, okay? So we will be beautiful to him, clothed in holiness. Holiness is absolute perfection and purity. And it's pictured in Revelation as we're robed in white, okay? Fine linen. We are clothed in the righteousness of Jesus Christ. Imagine this. God knows you and me. He knows me to the depths. He knows my sin. But he says, by my power, I'm going to make you willing. I'm going to make you mine. I'm going to redeem you. By my power, I'm going to clothe you in holiness. And I am going to make you beautiful. Now think about the world's standard of beauty. Think about the world's lies and deception and the force with which the media and the entertainment complex forces an image of beauty into the hearts and minds of humanity. Think of how many people are unhappy with themselves, with their body, with their looks, with their image, trying to fit into the world's skewed perversion of beauty. But on this day, God says, you will truly be beautiful. You'll be robed in absolute purity and perfection. And remember, this is Hebrew poetry, okay? And it's coming into English. So, and it's, thousands of years removed. But the imagery is just profound. The beauties of holiness from the womb of the morning, okay? And then this colon, thou hast the dew of thy youth. So his people, now again, these are images and they're obscure, okay? In fact, I'm looking at Albert Barnes' notes on this psalm, which are worth reading. But he says, every clause of this verse is obscure, but the general idea is not difficult to perceive or understand, okay? And I'm going to read his notes to you. That in the day of Messiah's power, his people would willingly offer themselves to him in holy robes or adorning, like the glittering dew of the morning, or in numbers that might be compared with the drops of morning dew. I mean, that just blows my mind, okay? You're going to be so beautiful in the beauty of holiness, clothed in the righteousness and beauty of Jesus Christ, made new with your new body in that eternal day. And there will be so many of us, his people, willingly worshiping, willingly presenting ourselves to him, that I don't know if you ever have this experience. I actually have a photo on my phone of this last winter. There's something about that morning sunlight. Okay, morning sun is rising off the horizon, and so different than direct overhead light. It just emblazons everything. Well, the night before this particular sunrise, there had been a snowstorm, and then it had kind of turned to icy rain, and so this particular storm had cloaked every branch, every blade of grass, every surface was clothed in crystal. And as the sunrise came up over the ridge just across from our house, literally the lawn, the tree branches, these pines in front of my house, the entire church building parking lot, every surface to the ridge across the valley from where my home is, every tree branch. I mean, the morning was ablaze like a billion diamonds, reflecting and refracting those golden sun rays. And I mean, it was breathtaking. For some reason, this particular morning, I was up early and I walked out on the front yard at this moment where God, and I've been out on dewy mornings often, but I've never seen one like this morning, and I've not seen one since, where it was just ablaze with glory and refracted light. I mean, I just stepped into a prism of wonder, and I stood there. It was literally mesmerizing, and I took pictures, and I look at those pictures. I looked at them recently, and they just don't do it justice. It was beautiful. And God says that's what we're going to look like to Jesus when Christmas is finally consummated. Joy to the earth, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. We celebrate his coming the first time, looking back. At Christmas, we look back. But at Christmas, we also look forward, and we celebrate the end of the story, the last chapter. And we're in that sit now in my right hand mode right now. But the promise is true. The promise is real, that one day we will present ourselves willingly to Jesus, beautiful to him, glistening before him in holiness, sparkling like the dew of the morning, like the morning is giving birth to us, an eternal morning. And then this phrase, youth. Thou hast the dew of thy youth. So we are presented to him like glitters of dewdrops in a new day, and it somehow references the youth, the vigor, the energy of Jesus as well. The imagery here is we're all young, including Jesus, and we're forever young, that there is no time. There is no aging. I hate a lot. I hate the things God hates. I hate sin. I hate wickedness. But you know something I really hate is time. And I'm not sure God hates time. I know it's his doing. But time is really, when time is gone, I mean, just imagine to be forever young, forever energetic, never have a body ache, never have a bone break, never have another illness, to be forever young. And that's the sense of this. So here's how Barnes summarizes the ideas of verse 3, and this is just profound. Number one, Jesus will have a people. Number two, their subjection to him will be willing. Number three, it would be accomplished by his power. Number four, his people will appear before him in great beauty, in robes of holy adorning. Number five, they will in some way resemble the dew of the morning. Number six, that to him, in thus subduing them, there would be the vigor of youth and the ardor of youthful hope. What an awesome verse. My friend, that has to be enough for today. Thanks for giving me a few extra moments. But what a great image. What a great celebration. It reminds me of our Christmas trees. The glittering lights on the trees, the way we decorate our homes, those little glittering lights. That's what you'll look like to Jesus in an ocean of redeemed humanity called his people. So celebrate Jesus today.